Hi everyone. So today we're going to look at the formula for the geometric series and give a proof of why it works or where it comes from. So when we first learned about geometric series, we were given that the sum S is given by A0, the initial value, divided by 1 minus R, where R is the common ratio. So let's see where that comes from. So if we consider the geometric series a naught plus a naught times r plus a naught times r squared, and so on and so forth, and add all these terms up, it's going to give us a value of s. We don't know what it is yet. That's what we want to find. So now, if we multiply both sides of this equation by r, the common ratio, then the first term would be, on the left hand side, would be a0 times r. So I'm just going to draw it slightly shifted here, and you see it why in a little bit. But here is the product of a0, the first term, times r. Then the second term, when I multiply it by r, it would become a0 r squared. The third term would be a0 r cubed, and so on. So every term, when I multiply it by r, it gets shifted to the right one position. And on the right hand side, it's pretty straightforward. We just get s times r. Now, what happens when we subtract the second equation, so the equation in the bottom, by the equation on top? So we're subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. Well, you see that there's nothing aligned with a0, so I just subtract a0 minus nothing. I get a0, that stays. But then all the other terms end up canceling out because I have one a0r on top and one a0r in the bottom. And it's the same for all other terms. So I get a0 plus a bunch of zeros on the left hand side. On the right hand side, though, things are slightly more interesting. I have s minus s times r. So now, on the left hand side I just have a0, and on the right hand side I can actually factor out a factor of s, and I'm left with s times 1 minus r. Now s is the quantity we want to find, so let's divide both sides of the equation by 1 minus r. And here we see that s, the value we were looking for, is actually equal to a0 over 1 minus r. Now, there are some restrictions when this formula works. We're going to talk about that in the next video.